Hello everyone. In the previous video, I had digressed a little bit from the main topic and discussed probability theory. Well, that was the foundation we needed to build in order to understand the upcoming topics. Now that we are done with that, let's get back to the wave function. So, wave function is a quantity that represents particles. It might or might not be a complex number. We denote it as the capital Greek letter psi. If it has a complex conjugate, we add an asterisk at the top of it. So psi is a form, you can represent psi as the form a plus bi, and its complex conjugate will be psi star a minus bi. You just replace the complex part with its additive inverse. So far we have learned that wave function acts as a probability distribution function. Like if we write the formula rho x dx and integrate it from minus infinity to infinity, it will give the numerical value 1. Here rho x is the probability distribution function. So same way, psi times psi star times psi is a probability distribution function in quantum mechanics. And if we integrate that from minus infinity to infinity, it will, with respect to dx, it will also give the numerical value 1. We are integrating this product with respect to x because we are looking for position of the particle. Now we know the fact that multiplication of complex number and its conjugate will give its modulus squared. So here psi star into psi will give psi mod of psi the whole square. We can easily prove it also. Previously I wrote psi is a plus ib and psi star is a minus ib, where a and b are real numbers and I represent square root of minus 1. So their product is psi star into psi equal to a plus ib into a minus ib, and the product gives a square minus I square b square, which is equal to a square plus b square, which is nothing but we can also write it as square root of a square plus b square. That represents the modulus of phi and the whole square, which is equal to modulus psi the whole square. So we can replace this quantity by psi square dx equal to 1. Now if you write psi of x of t, it will be probability density of finding particle at position x and time t. So again, if we integrate that from minus infinity to infinity with respect to dx, because we are finding the position at position x, it will again give the numerical value 1. So any wave function must follow this condition, and we will give this equation number 2. But as we saw in the first video, we get psi on solving the Schrodinger's equation. So why do we need to impose this second condition after getting the solution psi? The Schrodinger's equation was I h bar dou psi by dou t, this psi is capital by the way, is equal to minus h bar square upon 2n dou 2 psi by dou s square plus v psi. Now here I is square root of minus 1, the complex number. H bar represents reduced Planck constant. Psi is the wave function that we are going to find. H bar again is reduced Planck constant. M is mass of the particle that we are studying. Psi is x is the position, t is time, v here is the potential energy function which is operated on psi. Now even if we incorporate a constant multiplier in this equation, so we can rewrite it as I h bar dou by dou t of a into psi which is equal to minus h bar square upon 2m dou 2 by dou x square a psi plus v into a psi. A here is the constant multiplied throughout the equation. So whatever solution we get, it won't make any difference. So in case we get a solution from Schrodinger's equation for which this integral is more than 1 and a finite value, we will incorporate the factor k in front of the wave function so that the second requirement is satisfied, and this process is called normalization. So what will we do is, basically we will just multiply by this factor k in front of wave function, integrate it with respect to x and equate it to 1. So on solving this equation we will find value of k, and again we will put it back into the main wave function, so it becomes normalizable, so that this wave function will satisfy both these conditions, both the required condition and this Schrodinger's equation, and this overall process is called as normalization. But there are some cases in which the solutions for psi from Schrodinger's equation, for which this integral is 0 or it is some indefinite value, or the integration diverges, for them the solution is not non-normalizable. But there are some solutions from Schrodinger's equation for which this integral is 0 or infinite. For such solutions are called non-normalizable solutions. If the integral psi square dx is 0 or infinity, the solution is non-normalizable, and if it satisfies this condition, solution is normalizable. So wave function here is a function of both position and time. So as time changes, the wave function also changes. If we have normalized the wave function at time t equal to 0, so at t equal to 0 we first normalize the wave function. How do we make sure that it will stay normalized for any given point of time? We can't just keep normalizing the wave function for every point in time. So to check this case, we will just take the time derivative of this left part. So we will take time derivative of left. So now time derivative of integral from minus infinity to infinity psi of x of t, x and t, modulus the whole square dx. Now we can see that we can't just take this derivative sign inside directly, because the function size, wave function psi is dependent on both position and time. So by Leibniz integral rule, we can take the derivative inside, but we will replace it by partial derivative, as we won't derivate the wave function with respect to s. So we can also write it as integration from minus infinity to infinity dou by dou t psi of x and t dx. So this Leibniz integral rule also has some extra part with the equation, but as these limits are constant, those parts are just 0, so we get this main equation. And we can also write it as integration from minus infinity to infinity dou by dou t psi star psi ex. So on applying the chain rule for differentiation, we can also write it as integration from minus infinity to infinity dou psi star by dou t into phi. First we differentiate the psi star, then multiply it with psi plus psi star into derivative of second part dou psi by dou t, integrate with respect to x. So we will now just plug in the values of dou psi star by dou t and dou psi by dou t from these two equations that we derived earlier from Schrodinger's equation. So that will give us integral from minus infinity to infinity. The first part is dou psi star by dou t. So we will write minus IH upon 2m dou square psi star by dou x square plus I by h v psi star multiplied with this wave function psi, plus the second part is psi star into dou psi by dou t, which is IH by 2m dou square psi by dou t, dou square psi by dou x square minus I by h v psi. The entire expression is integrated with respect to dx. So now we can just multiply these quantities together to simplify further. So the first term minus IH by 2m dou 2 psi star by dou x square plus I. So this first term multiplied with psi plus the second term I by h v psi star psi plus the second bracket. First we will take the constant out, so IH by 2m IH by 2m psi star dou square psi by dou x square minus the constant out I by h v psi star psi dx. So now we can see that these two quantities cancel out, and what we are left with is these two quantities. In them the factor IH by 2m is common, so we will take that out and rewrite the expression as. So now when we rewrite this equation, we can further simplify it, like by taking the common factor out IH by 2m, integral from minus infinity to infinity, and this part right here can be represented as the derivative with respect to x of function psi star dou psi by dou x minus dou psi star by dou x into psi integrated with respect to x. So you can check that if you take derivative of this part, this expression, you get this part. So now when we take integration of a differential, we directly get the function itself with boundaries, the given limits to the integration. So psi star dou psi by dou x minus dou psi star by dou x psi from minus infinity to infinity, and this wave function is function of x. So as x goes to infinity, the wave function must go to 0, because if the particle's wave function is existing at x equal to infinity, then the wave function is non-normalizable. So we don't want that, so the psi must go to 0 as x goes to infinity. Same goes with psi star also. Both psi and psi star must go to 0 when x goes to infinity. And as both the psi and psi star are going to 0, that means dou psi by dou x and dou psi star by dou x also go to 0. That makes this integral 0. So that makes that integral 0. Therefore IH by 2m into 0, which is 0. So the original expression d by dt of integral from minus infinity to infinity psi of x and t the whole square dx is equal to 0. Now that the derivative of this quantity is 0, we can say that once the wave function is normalizable at t equal to 0, it will stay normalized for rest of the time because it is not changing with time. As we can see, the derivative is 0. So that's it for today's video. Today we learn how to normalize the wave function, and we will make use of it in future videos also. So let me know in the comments if there are any doubts. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. Happy physicsing.